Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Industries Live. This is a show where we bring some of our most interesting AWS partners on that are doing really interesting things from an industry perspective, and they're developing line of business types of solutions that really address some of those core industry needs. And we dive in deep into what are those industry trends that they're seeing. It's a really great time. We have great conversations. And my name is Jason O'Malley. So I'm a senior partner solutions architect, and I focus on media and entertainment as part of our partner solutions strategy team. And I'm actually broadcasting here today from Chicago, and we do have a live chat. So I'd love to hear if you want to drop in where you're watching from, and also use that chat during the show to let us know if you have any questions about what we're talking about. It'd be great to hear what you're engaging with, and if you'd like to know any more information, we'll try to get to it. And I'll also mention we have a QR code up here in the corner. So if you want to be able to check out future events and get calendar reminder notifications, use that QR code and you'll be able to get registered so you can get updates for next episodes. And with that, I will pass it off to my esteemed colleague and our partner leader for all of media and entertainment partners. So Stuart, if you want to take it away and say hello.
Hi, everybody. How are we doing today? I'm Stuart Lepkowsky. I'm the Global Partner Strategy Leader for Media and Entertainment, Games, and Sports, and it also includes betting. I'm broadcasting live from Long Island, New York. It's a wonderful fall day. The leaves are turning, and I'd like to welcome you all to our show. Today's theme is going to be about AI applications and automated content creation. And we're going to go over a little bit of what was seen at the IBC 2025 show, right, Jason? It was an incredible event.
Yep.
We had over 50 partners, right?
It was fantastic, yeah. And for any of our viewers, since we do have so many great industry watchers here, so IBC, for us in the media industry, it's a really big tentpole event, and it's hosted at Amsterdam, so it's always nice to get to go to that. And it's called the International Broadcasting Conference. And so it happens in September of every year, and it's a really great point in time to be able to see what are those trends within the industry and be able to see that. We had a fantastic booth at AWS with tons of partners on our stand, and we also had a chance to meet some of our partners. It's always great to hear what everyone's seeing and what everyone's looking forward to next year.
Yeah, and speaking of partners, our first guests on the show today, I'd like to do an introduction. I'm going to bring them on camera, please.
Okay. Ramki, hello.
Ramki. Right. So our first guest is Ramki. He's the founder, president, and global CEO of Prime Focus Technologies. And Rohan, bring Rohan on.
Oh, and Rohan is going to hang back. So Ramki's going to lead today. Yep. Okay.
So Ramki, how are we doing today?
Very well, Stuart, and thank you for having me. I'm really excited to share our thoughts to this audience.
Great. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and Prime Focus and give us some history on the company? That would be fabulous for our guests.
Sure. No, I think, my name is Ramki, and, I was co-founder of Prime Focus Technologies, founded this company 17 years ago on the back of content becoming digital and this enterprise digitization opportunity. It's been a fabulous journey from there, innovating every step of the way, looking at, working very closely with customers on every transition that their businesses required, and technology consequently having to support those. What we do today, obviously, we are in the we are in the creative production and content supply chain space. We have a product called Clear AI, which is, we deliver AI agents and AI applications for the creative production and the content supply chain sort of end use cases within the media and entertainment industry. Clear AI is a multi-LLM, multi-modal enterprise AI platform that's used by customers today. We say that that our customers get real results, no fluff, when they use our AI agents and AI applications. And I think clearly the results have been that they've had sort of registered productivity gains, which means that those are real product translating to real efficiencies, measurable efficiencies. And what excites us even more is that it is also sort of also registering enough and more new possibilities. And I think that's the most exciting part as well, that clients are able to drive more revenue on the back of deploying our AI agents and applications. So Stuart, thank you for having me, and love to talk more about these products.
Sure. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the superpowers and how you differentiate within the industry. And let's go deeper into Gen AI. And let's talk a little bit about how are you using AWS native services. And then coming off the IBC last month, I'm curious about how autonomous or agentic AI is reshaping content creation in the media industry. Could you share your perspective on how Prime Focus is seeing these AI agents transform traditional workflows? And I'd love to hear some specific examples if you have them.
Certainly, Stuart. I think our fundamental view coming off of meeting customers at an IBC, a trade show like IBC, is it's always great fun talking to customers and understanding where they are in their evolutionary journey in AI adoption. I think very clearly, this time around, there was less skepticism around AI, but more enthusiasm around wanting to learn how other customers have really embraced it and adopted it and implemented it and so on, right? So this was sort of one very clear shift that we could see within the customer mindsets, meeting customers. And our view is that AI isn't there to sort of replace creativity. It is really helping. It's out there to accelerate it. And that sort of if you will is manifested, and we are able to do that because of a foundationally strong data platform that we have within Clear AI. And this data platform sort of has agents, and particularly a metadata agent, which creates data, highest fidelity data at the lower cost. And I think that is really foundationally helping in sort of AI, getting understanding of the content within the libraries of our customers. And then this is possible because there is Clear AI is sort of manifests about 18 different patents, and one of them is called machine wisdom, which really is the one that sort of helps capturing multiple intelligences from looking at various facets of the content and really gaining the best understanding. And that best understanding is reflected in the data that the agent creates. And on top of that, we have Clear AI has its own native conversational AI agent, which is the UI for AI, as we'd like to call it, which is what sort of creative talent really sort of uses to interact, to search and sort of if you will get actions done. It's a natural language processing based search, and that has sort of really evangelized the usage and adoption of the tool. That NLP based search interface really has been a game changer for us. And so that sort of really is the sort of baselines associated with it. And where it is getting used, I think it's, like I said, there are a cross-section of customers where we've delivered real results. And let me talk about the first one, which is a leading broadcaster sitting on sort of, if you will, a few 100,000 hours of content in their library. And, everybody wants to monetize their library more and more. And, one of the areas they deployed our Clear AI solution was in the snackable content creation area. And what they did with the Clear AI is really, to help with the creative production process, so that, you're able to create both marketing and social content that eventually they would publish in their YouTube, Facebook, TikTok type sort of, if you will, outlets. And one of the biggest advantages that they were able to get is by search. That, one of the fundamental sort of aspects of any creative process is finding the content. And I think that sort of really was the biggest winner in to start with. Of course, the same sort of solution then helped them, did playlisting, help storytelling. And we always say that today our clear AI solutions is able to understand the intent of the creative, and so that sort of is really what was sort of really used. Results wise, with the same workforce, they were able to increase their content production volume by 8x.
Wow,
And
that's an incredible number. 8 times productivity
gains, and they were able to drive 22x revenue increase on YouTube, particularly, right? Wow. And I think so. That's a good example. ITV, for instance, in the UK, they were able to use the same solution, same stuff, get 25% more content created, and they also confirmed that they were able to drive their revenue growth also by 25%. So again, incredible sort of, if you will, results that our customers have been able to gain with the usage of the solution. On the content supply chain side, Stuart, I'd like to add one more example that, a lot of customers have, large archives, and sometimes they're not the best organized, given the evolution of how they have conducted their businesses. So a significant amount of Clear AI use is also in the archive cleanup area, where they are using to sort of, they have multiple picture files, multiple audio and subtitle files. And, you're essentially have a lot of work to do manually, which is done manually traditionally, to match picture with subtitle and the audio tracks. And that's another area where customers have gained speed, scale, and of course, they've saved a ton of money. A customer closer to here in New York, processed about 20,000 odd files. And they saved about $10 million in what otherwise they would have done. They would have spent manually. By using AI, they've saved $10 million on that. So again, that's sort of
incredible number, Ramki. Did you say $10 million?
That's right. That's right.
Jason,
I can see that too. Yeah, I mean, I come from a background in post-production, Ramki, and I know, like, for anyone that's in the audience that isn't as familiar with media workflows, one of the things is when you have these media files stored on these vast storage systems and otherwise, being able to search through them, find them, what traditionally was very difficult, especially you'd have to maybe manually tag things, and it wasn't very powerful. And so the type of work you're doing to help use AI to make that much more searchable, so you're not wasting this time maybe watching content in real time. And that's where I imagine some of that efficiency gains comes from the customers.
That's right. And this particular last use case, Jason, you would have required about, for this volume, if they have to knock it off in a particular time, they would have to have about, over 100 editors sort of on staff.
Wow.
That needed to be brought in. And with AI, they were able to do it with about 13 or 14 editors. So that, I think, is really where the efficiencies sort of really come in that context. Yeah. And Stuart, you were sort of talking about, you were asking me, how AWS helps us in this journey, right? And I think that's what I'm super excited to sort of share with you as well. Obviously, sort of, our Clear AI solution is hosted on AWS. That's to start with, and I think Clear AI supports AWS Bedrock agents in its agentic platform out of the box. And underneath that, we obviously use the AWS Anthropic Claude models. We use the Llama models. Our Clear AI agents are deployed on AWS Lambda out of the box. We're also sort of migrating agents to AWS Agent Core. Of course, use AWS services like Recognition, Transcribe, and Translate. So yeah, and I think we are, incidentally, we are also, Stuart, as you're mostly aware of, the fact that we are also on the AWS Marketplace for customers sort of really sort of, if you will, leverage their AWS relationship and consume Clear AI in their day-to-day workflows.
Yeah.
It's powerful. And I know, Ramki, we showed a small subset of some of the features at our AWS booth for what Prime Focus technologies can do. I believe in that case, it was reframing, showing that in terms of processing to social media. And historically, what I would have to do that in my old days, and you'd have to, load it into an editor, try to track it frame by frame. And it's not, it's just, you spend a lot of time on it and you kind of end up with the same result. So it's exciting to see applications like that really accelerate the creation process and deliver those nice.
You know what I like, Jason, that I heard, that the interaction with the creatives and understanding their process and workflow, and really linking up with the way they think and giving them the ability to natively search the way they're used to working in the more traditional way and making it in the more modern way. That's a really good link for creatives, and it really pushes back some of that, as Ramki was talking about earlier, that learning and that a little bit of resistance to understand what AI can do. And it's really evolving now as great tools, and people are starting to understand that it's a tool that I use in many of the different things I do when I'm creating. Somebody made a reference the other day to me. They said, creatives, they've got paintbrushes, they've got, their Mac, they use different mechanisms and tools to create things. And AI is going to become another one of those tools in their toolbox. And the more they adopt and learn what it's really doing, and Ramki's doing a fabulous job here of creating that technology and also helping us understand here. So Ramki, it's really great to hear that. Jason, do you want to talk a little bit more about some of the services and what you're seeing them do and how it's linking to our customers?
Yeah, I think Ramki, you highlighted some of those that you utilize. So it's for a viewer. So Amazon Bedrock is our service that is able to do really that heavy lifting management of running generative AI. And so and you mentioned you utilize the Anthropic Claude models and the Llama models from Meta. So that's interesting. It's good to know behind the scenes how you're powering it and sort of delivering that really effective workflow communication end to end. And I know that with some of that, I believe, as we get to talk a little bit more specifically about Clear AI, I know the collaboration is a big part of it, helping to maybe remove some of those roadblocks in the content creation process. Ramki, any pieces of that you'd want to touch upon before we actually have like an overview video we can show in a little bit of how that works, but anything to lead into that?
Sure, Jason. I think one of the advantages that we've had, Jason, is that we are our customer zero for our products, because there is a larger, as part of DNEG, we are we're part of a very large sort of, if you will, content creation services organization. And so all the creative tools that we create, we are ourselves our own sort of services teams are customer zero. And that's where we gain valuable insights on how to make these tools, how to build these tools so that creatives will get to use them, right? And I think, and then we test that sort of, if you will, end use first with sort of, using within our own internal workflows. That's been sort of, very valuable, Jason, in building the technology that not only works, but also sort of will be used by the creative sort of, professionals around. And that's sort of one advantage that we have. The other one is also sort of, we gain intensely associated with clearly how to build agents. For instance, this need to create the highest quality metadata, because, creative imaginations are not restricted by, what metadata is present in your system or not, right? So you've got to create the highest fidelity of data so that, as they are creatively thinking about it and they are starting to engage and prompt their systems, we ought to sort of, if you will, surface. How do you ensure, we call it context-enabled content creation, which is enterprise data-led content creation. That's sort of really where I think our products really specialize in. And not only are you sort of, creating content, you're creating content from existing content. You're, of course, then starting to sort of, for any content that you created, creating all the publishing artifacts, Jason. A good synopsis, a great title, the keywords that need to go in. You touched upon, Jason, this ability that, people wanted vertical experiences from horizontally short content. How do you create them quickly? Developing the key art, the posters, Jason, that's again, it's a very critical part of the as important as the content, it is the poster that you create, the thumbnails or posters that we say, how do you create the key arts? And we have a key art agent. So I think, AI agents have sort of, if you will, really become very powerful in this sort of entire process. That's, I've done this 17 years, Jason. One thing that I've not, for this generative AI and this new technology came around, Jason, I've worked very hard to get creatives use technology. And I can tell you that, only for the last 18 months or so, that I've really sort of succeeded in creative sort of, engaging and using the platform and really leveraging out of it, right? So yeah, it's that's the power of generative AI that we've been able to bring through, and it's getting better every single day, right? I mean, if I were to go look back at my technology platform 2 weeks in, I would have missed something because there would have been something in there in those 2 weeks that sort of is different than what was there about 2 weeks prior. So
it's fabulous that you're generating new agents. As you move through the industry, learn what creatives are doing, listening to the voice of the creatives, and then responding with agents that help them really create better content faster, more timely, and hit the market faster. It's a great theme and a great story in the product. I really encourage our listeners to take a closer look at this product. And I'm sure Ramki will help you do a proof of concept or a demo if you want to see more in that.
And actually might be a good time at the moment. Would we want to, Ramki, should we maybe show the viewers a bit of a sense of the workflow that you've enabled with Clear AI?
Yeah, Jason, let's do that, Ron. Jason.
All right, great. I love that.
Wow.
It's being able to kind of show that. I really like the way you showed the empowering the creatives to collaborate and to build. That's a great overview.
Yeah, that's a wow. The native language interface was incredible in the collaboration. Now I understand why you sped up all the production time and saved all the money. It's very obvious. Look how quick that was. Very impressive interface.
Ramki, I'm curious with some of the creative feedback that you've had from customers on some of those tools. Any parts that like they seem to gravitate towards the most?
I think their ability to kind of use their native language, right? I mean, if you will somebody can search, say, native languages, sort of, Spanish. They can kind of do a mix of Spanish, English. They can, whatever, however they're thinking naturally, right? They can, that's the part that they really like, and, there are some of our users in India who do it search in English. It's a combination of Hindi and English. So the beauty really is that the natural language platform understands these nuances, right? And they're fascinated with it, right? And one of the interesting things, Jason, that really has helped, I think, is that this whole generative AI, if you will, let's call it revolution or whatever we would want to call it, actually are dinner table conversations, right, Jason? It's not some things that tech or operating departments alone knew what it is all about. It is so all pervasive that, and because of that, each of the creatives are also sort of, if you will, very aware and very sort of, if you will, ready for the gig. And so when you put these tools, I've seen, fairly rapid sort of, there are some initial hiccups, right? Traditionally they used to search saying with 1-letter word or 2-letter words, right? And they would be dissatisfied saying, hey, this is not. I said, no, converse. Right, and that's the only nudge that we used to do. Just chat with the system, and then we basically sort of it's the power of the data, Jason. It's the power of the data underlying it, and I think we call this your personal content assistant, right? And I think and it is helping the creative tell better stories.
Wow. How many languages do you support?
About 74 languages or so, Stuart. Last count. Yeah, I think that's the extent of languages that it supports. And the other sort of interesting aspect, Stuart, is also that the power using Bedrock, we are also multi-LLM. We are able to use many of the LLM models that is sort of is present as resources within Bedrock. And so we are also able to use the right model for the right sort of task. And I think that sort of is very valuable as well to make sure that we are able to meet the creative needs of the creators that we're talking about here.
Okay. Great. Ramki, this has been great to see. I'm really excited, especially someone used to get frustrated with so many like pauses and waiting, and just being able to see, just be able to focus on the creation part and not getting stuck. I'm really excited by all the great things you're doing. We're had such a great discussion. We're almost out of time. I'm wondering, do you want to any closing thoughts? And I think we have a graphic in case people would like to use the QR code and learn some more. So for viewers, use that QR code. You can learn more about Clear AI and Prime Focus Technologies. And yeah, Ramki, any closing thoughts for you?
No, I think I think I want to say that we lead with the quality of data. We extract the best data within the enterprises, and we help customers use that data, the guardrails that they would want to put within the enterprise, and leverage the context. Many of our customers are also sort of wanting to personalize and create content at scale. These are sort of, whether it is snackable content or micro dramas in modern day that our customers are sort of really, really interested in. And that's sort of really, if you want to do any of that, I think Clear AI is the right solution. Somebody said that, for getting the best creative storytelling, you need data. For the best data, you need strong asset management. With Clear AI, you get all the three. And I think that's what I wanted to say it in summary.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great summary and great conversation.
Ramki, thank you very much today for joining us. And closing thoughts, I love that you mentioned micro dramas. If the viewers don't know what that is, take a look. It's something very new and interesting coming in our industry. And I think it's fabulous that Prime Focus is already looking at this and providing a solution. Jason, closing thoughts?
Nope, that's it. Great discussion and great to have you come on and demonstrate it for everyone, and hope to have you back on again some other time.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. Thank you, Stuart, for having me and giving this opportunity to talk to your audiences. I really appreciate that.
Great. Thank you, Ramki. And then for our viewers, what we're going to do is we're going to do a really quick wrap, and we'll be back in about 20 seconds. So stay tuned and don't step away. And Dave from EPAM will join us for our second part. So thanks again, Ramki.
Bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Industries Live. If you're just joining us, if you joined part of the way through, what this is a show we do every other Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And what we do is we have our really exciting partner guests come on, and it's partner guests that work specifically within our industries. And they come in, they tell us about how they're building industry-specific AWS solutions that address some of those key industry challenges and opportunities. And they also bring us some insights, fresh insights based on what they're seeing in the industry, trends, customer anecdotes, and feedback. And so it's great. We get to have these great discussions. With that, I'm going to pop up a QR code here on the top right corner. So just if you'd like to subscribe to that, and so you can get notified when we do have new episodes, that's a great way to do that. That's the item there. And I'll pass it over to my colleague, Stuart. Stuart, if you want to say another quick hello for our new viewers.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Stuart Lepkowsky. I'm the Global Partner Strategy Leader for Media and Entertainment, Games, and Sports. It also includes betting now. And I'm live here in Long Island, and it's a beautiful fall day, and the leaves are turning. And I'd like to welcome our guest. We're bringing Dave online.
Hey there, everyone.
Hey, so welcome, Dave. Dave is the head of M&E Consulting at EPAM Systems. And Dave, could you do a quick introduction about yourself and what EPAM is doing in the industry these days?
Sure. So first of all, thank you for having me on. Like Stuart mentioned, Dave Liu, I head up EPAM's media entertainment consulting practice here for North America. Been in the media entertainment space the last 20 plus years at this point. Actually got my start on the industry side back at NBC Universal, and then I went to the dark side of consulting and basically got to work across all the other global studios, broadcasters, gaming, live entertainment companies, and even into music and beyond. So for those that aren't familiar about EPAM is a end-to-end business and technology consulting company that's been innovating within the media entertainment and technology industries since 1993. And we have over 60,000 employees worldwide and a dedicated media and entertainment practice of 4,900 folks. So we provide everything from comprehensive services related to strategy, consulting, all the way through design, build, delivery, which I'm sure you hear a lot from a lot of other competitors. Unlike a lot of the other consulting companies, though, we actually started out on the engineering side. So we're used to making things real for some of the world's largest digital native companies. And rather than just generating tons of roadmap decks, we also provide that hardcore engineering chops that can actually help you deliver and make those grand plans real. EPAM as a whole, we primarily focus, I would say, in especially the cloud, digital experience, security, and of course, data and AI spaces. We just actually were ranked in the Gartner report for leaders, one of the leader spots in the Gen AI consulting and implementation services category there. So we're very proud of that. And specifically in the media entertainment space, we mainly focus on the content providers, your live entertainment companies, sports, and a lot of the hardware and software vendors that help support the space. And so helping them with everything around revenue optimization, cost optimization, media supply chain, and of course, data intelligence.
And you're one of our top partners, and you recently signed a strategic collaboration agreement. And I want to congratulate you and thank you for doing that.
It goes both ways. Thank you.
Yes. Let's go a little bit deeper. I'd love to hear more about some of the customer success stories that you've had. Could you share an example or two and talk about what EPAM did and how you made a significant impact or difference with those customers?
Sure, totally. So I'll start off with one that I think a lot of people are probably familiar with from a user consumption perspective, but Fortnite, Epic Games, right? Giant platform. One of their first tentpole events that they had that was more of a revenue optimization model of like actually having concert experiences within the gaming environment was that whole Travis Scott Astronomical tour. And so EPAM was behind the scenes to help make that a reality. We actually helped them provide all the horizontal scaling for their Epic online services, their 24/7 operational support, the capacity planning, security, system automation, you name it, all the back end to help get that experience as a reality for millions and millions of users to actually enjoy live. That's one example. A couple other ones I would call out. There's another large media entertainment global company that we work for that had been focusing on cloud transformation for several years. and they had gone through efforts to basically move the majority of their infrastructure into the cloud. But they started realizing that, you know what, we're not necessarily seeing all the cost savings that we have expected from that. And so they brought us in, as a trusted partner of theirs, to help them understand where are the areas that they could improve. And so we actually built out a whole cloud efficiency practice for them, helped them achieve $100 million in cost savings there. And it's not just,
wow,
it's a pretty large number, but
and so that's an incredible, very incredible number. And I'm assuming you used AWS native services to do that.
Exactly. So one of the quick wins for them was realizing, hey, they weren't using things like Graviton behind the scenes, right? So we actually helped roll out Graviton across their enterprise, and they achieved a huge amount of savings from that. Again, kind of reorganizing some of their VPC usage, leveraging S3 more, basically leveraging a lot more AWS native services as opposed to just the lift and shift type of model.
Fantastic. That's great. And so it's like great to see, like, kind of like you're able to really like adapt to those needs of all types of needs within the industry and kind of like help them deliver those revenue savings and such. And I know, I'm curious too, within Dave, I was glad we actually bumped into each other last month at IBC. We mentioned in the last episode, IBC, for any viewers from other industries, it's called the International Broadcasting Conference, and it's in Amsterdam every September. So it's a great place to meet, finally get to catch up with people like Dave in person. But I'm curious, Dave, with that, the episode theme today is a bit around how AI and content can play together in terms of not necessarily generating content as an image, but maybe assembling content and bringing it together. I'm curious, do you have any insights or from your conversation that's at IBC, or what you saw about what are some of those trends that are moving in the industry?
Totally, yeah. So I'll say IBC and NAB as well, all these media entertainment conferences, it's always interesting to see the transition year by year. Like if we look a couple of years back, it was all about AI. AI is still the trend, I'll say, but previously it was the hype of AI, right? Like all these potential use cases that you can go to. Last year, it kind of transitioned a little bit more into our clients really wanting to go beyond the wow into how are you actually doing this, doing like proof of concepts and things like that. Now it's evolved into, okay, we're past the proof of concept phase. Like we need to start recognizing the actual ROI for all these initiatives that we're spending towards, right? And like practical use cases, they might not necessarily be the most kind of sexy media entertainment examples and like creating fully Gen AI created videos and stuff like that. But a lot of the back of house stuff, for instance, like using AI for parsing through legal terms and understanding rights and availabilities, using AI to actually help with marketing and sales promotions. So that's a general theme I would say that we're experiencing more and more in the conference this year. Agentic definitely came up as a hot topic as well, but what we realized is I think there's still fundamental kind of misunderstandings from a lot of the clients of what is agentic AI versus generative AI versus predictive AI and all the terminologies.
Yeah, I think for our viewers, just a little deeper on rights and content, depending on the type of content, especially documentaries, they have many elements that are licensed. So then when they redistribute the content and license it out, they actually have to go through really detailed contracts and look at, where the terms and conditions are in each of the elements they license to make the show. That's become very cumbersome. And it's a great use of AI to really interpret the content and then help distribute content and do what we call rights out. After we've consumed the rights in, we look at how to monetize the rights. It's great that you're looking at doing that, and it's a great example of a good use of AI.
Yeah, but definitely excited about that one. And also at IBC, we use that as our coming out event for our Hypermark Accelerator, which was something that came out of our strategic collaboration agreement with all of you. So,
Hypermark. Let's talk about Hypermark. Okay, so that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
What is Hypermark?
So Hypermark stands for our Hyper-Personalized Marketing Video Accelerator. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but the whole general premise behind it is a lot of content companies right now are struggling, right? It's a very competitive space. There's a lot of divestitures and acquisitions happening, and the streaming platforms are all contending on how can we get the most eyeballs on our platform. And generally there's a lot of churn from each platform in terms of people dropping off at the end of the month after they binge watch a whole bunch of content, right? So there's this constant pressure of how do we engage our customers and clients and keep our fans interested in all the content that we have. And generally in the past, it's been very kind of a manual approach. Marketing creates all these greenfield video promo assets and like includes them in your different streaming rails and things like that. While Hypermark is meant to help accelerate a lot of that content creation and personalize it down to the individual user level. So think of it as, hey, Dave's watching Amazon Prime Video. He likes The Wire. Let's take his viewing habits and what he's liked and what he's seen, and also leverage what he may be interested in, like the recommendations engine piece of it, and stitch together a 30-second video promo slot that is catered directly to him. And all that ultimately to kind of build up more feel or passion around the platform itself, engage them in terms of wanting to stay on platform longer, and then ultimately it can be a recommendation engine, tie into even things like your existing offer management, things like that. So it's we're very, very excited about it.
That's great. And I was curious, Dave, too, you mentioned that this solution kind of came out of that strategic collaboration agreement, the overall motion with AWS. I understand is Amazon Nova was part of the solution as well, and you're an early adopter of that. I'm curious, how does that fit into the solution?
Sure, yeah. So I will say that the entire Hypermark solution is fully AWS native. So we were one of the first folks that actually used Nova Premier actually behind the scenes to do a lot of the generative AI component. We also use OpenSearch and the full media services suite behind the scenes to do a lot of the transcoding and stitching of the assets.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and then I should have mentioned when I mentioned it, but so Amazon Nova is our family of foundation models that are created by Amazon, and so they have certain advantages in terms of latency, performance, and cost. And so it's great to see you kind of like diving in as an early adopter of that and integrating it to the core of the solution.
Yeah, and especially the whole first-party model aspect of it, right? So I think a lot of our clients were concerned around, hey, if we're putting information in here, we don't want it necessarily to be used and trained for others, and like they still want to have that kind of proprietariness around it. And so Nova for us worked really well with that particular use case.
That's important, yeah, because I know especially with some of the data sets you're working with that are really sort of those like customer, maybe you call them customer 360 data sets that really know those fine-grained details. I'm sure there's a lot of sensitivity around that, and just making sure everyone feels very, knowing that this is in a secure environment and it's being handled the right way. So I could see that being an important consideration.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting, Jason. A lot of the promo and traditional interstitial content used to draw you to watch new shows and episodes and more long form were pretty standard, right? I mean, there were several different clips handpicked out of dozens to figure out what would catch a broader demographic audience. I think it's fabulous that you're leaning in and really segmenting the demographics and even down to the individual level to target and draw them in to watch more content. I mean, personally speaking, that's how I find my new shows, is when I'm better targeted to things I'm watching, and it helps me find more of what I'm interested in. So it's a great use of our technology, and it sounds like a really fabulous tool. Jason, do we want to dive deeper into Hypermark?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, we kind of teed it up, but Dave, would you want to walk us through and go a little bit deeper into the functionality?
Sure thing.
And so
we have some slides in the background here that we can pull up that walk through a little bit more of the background. Now, apologies in advance. We do have a whole video that we can share, but I think there's concerns around the Creative Commons licensing for some.
We had some fun live streaming considerations. So we'll do more of the description here, and then if you reach out to Dave and team, you can actually get the real version there.
Awesome. So I think if we jump over to the next slide, it kind of goes through what we were talking about. But the main premise behind Hypermark is that it leverages your existing content libraries as well as your existing customer data to create that hyper-personalized marketing video, ultimately to help reduce churn. Right? That's the main use case. I'll say that ideally, currently it is built out more for the media entertainment content providers, but through a lot of the conversations we've been having with our other clients as well in other industries like retail, CPG, et cetera, they're even getting excited about it, using it for instance, for creating ad spots and things like that in their use cases. But generally, the high level flow of all this goes as the first step is we leverage Nova behind the scenes to actually help us discover, tag, and basically analyze the existing media assets and the creative attributes behind them. And then once we have all that information, we actually then package it up and generate video content, not from a full generative AI component, but actually stitching video. So a lot of this gets around some of the concerns in the media entertainment space right now around IP rights and the concerns of actually creating something that doesn't hold to the original artistic guidance that was provided. So by leveraging the more stitching technique, this actually is all existing content. We already have all the rights to it. Still follows the creative intent, as opposed to creating something like a Tilly Norwood, right, behind the scenes. So that helps us with the responsible AI component of this. And then, of course, the leveraging the unique customer profiles and careabouts, that's the thing that actually feeds our whole AI script generation, the custom text overlays. And we'll go a little bit further into that in the next couple slides here. But one of the key things I want to call out is just the benefit, right? So personalization is a theme that we've been hearing across industry for years, right? We've already done multiple pilots and smaller use cases around how different personalization can help with streaming experiences and what that return on investment could look like. And even if we go with a conservative 5% type of improvement on existing subscriber churn rates, we're talking about savings of 15 million plus per year for a lot of these streaming providers here in the States. So it's not small chump change that we're talking about. It's significant revenue optimization capabilities.
Especially because there's such a high cost of subscriber acquisition that anything you can do to really keep those subscribers happy, I think it could be hundreds of dollars per subscriber. It depends on your platform. So really just keeping them engaged with something that is relevant for them so that they feel they're getting that value is really important.
And there's a cost. There's a cost to churn management.
Yeah.
And the more you reduce churn management and retain your subscribers as customers long term, the better your monetization projections and penetration will be. So I really like what you guys are doing within the tools. And I'm assuming you're also, as you move out to other platforms, some clean room technology built in as well. I would assume.
There is some of that involved. And actually, I think we have another slide that's prepped in the background there that goes into even more detail of how we structured things behind the scenes. So this blueprint view kind of shows from a high level how we have bucketed a lot of this. So the entire solution, I will caveat, is built first from a back-end services perspective, right? So everything is microservice based. It is meant to be composable so that you can basically rejig or recall the microservices to whatever your actual workflows, your existing orchestration platforms, et cetera. And so the main requirements that we have are, first, we would like that access to the content library or your media asset management systems, plus the customer data. So those kind of two bolded items to the left there. If you have any other information on top of that, great. That's even more information that we can use to personalize further. So example, access to your rights management or title management systems, even going into things like your existing campaign management tools, or if you have existing churn and propensity models that have been developed, we can leverage that to help with the targeting and messaging, and even pulling in things like offers, unique offers from your offer management solution, right? All that can essentially feed into that AI generated script piece that is powered by Nova Premier. And then once we have that AI script, we actually go and look across the existing library to find what are the assets that have the most relevancy towards that script and have the highest match hit rate. And then we'll stitch the appropriate sections from all that long form content into a cohesive 15, 30 second, however long you want it, right? So the configurable duration there. It'll add in unique audio. So the audio tracks can be based on genre, or if you even want to go into hyper-personalized audio tracks, we can go down that path as well. Personalized text overlays so that it actually says like, "Hi, Dave," and like it's a specific message on screen that's burned in. And we have the capability to also add personalized voiceovers on top of it. It's not built into the exact demo that we're going to that we can show, but it's in the script at least. And then we package all of that together to basically push down to the downstream video CMSs or distribution platforms. And one of the key things to keep in mind here is, because this is AI, there still has to be that human in the loop piece of it, right? So we do allow for a customer feedback loop here, where they can say, yes, this promo is good, bad, or I didn't like the audio, I did like the overlays, whatever, right? And that could be provided from either that end experience, or if you want to interject with a spot check of content, we can add that in upfront. Again, all this is composable, so this is just a rough flow of events.
So what's incredible about the flow, and it really goes in theme with what our leadership principle here is, which is listening to customers and obsessing over what customers need for their own success, right? You see their customers are asking us on cloud when you work with partners, and this is an answer I give to a lot of partners who ask, what's the advantage of the partner network? One of them, you see it right here. You've built a platform which has integrations into other partners and existing work streams, so that I have to do a complete re-engineering to move and transform. They can take existing components and other partner tools they have, right, and offerings, use them with your offering integrated, downstream integrated again. It's really fabulous that you're listening to customers, other partners, unifying. It's really the power of what we're doing on cloud with our media customers. And we continue to see that acceleration. It was at the IBC show. It'll be at the NAB show and a couple of other events coming up. You can see multi-partner integrations, one after another, all based on our customer feedback and what the industry is driving.
Yeah, and to even emphasize on that point even further, because it is an accelerator, this is not something that EPAM's licensing to our customers, right? This is literally, we use it as an accelerator to help our customers get to market faster with that functionality. We just provide the professional services to help customize and tweak the various components as they need, but they get to own the IP rights to it long term. There's no perpetual licensing that they have to do. It's much simpler that way from what we do.
That's a great, interesting model for builders. A lot of our customers are builders, right? Not just buyers.
Exactly.
It's flexible because they can utilize your integration expertise as well, and to know how to work with different systems. So really kind of make it easy from that standpoint.
Yeah.
And
actually, tying to IBC, some of our conversations from that, as we were showing that demo, they were like, hey, interesting. Can you actually use Hypermark for handling microdramas? Because you're basically taking long form content and snipping it up into smaller pieces that are relevant and then pushing that out.
Microdramas again. Right? Customers tuned in, go look into microdramas. It's an industry changer.
Yep.
Dave, we got a few more minutes. Do you want to talk a little bit about the configuration and architecture, and then we can make sure to show customers where they can get in contact to learn more?
Sounds good. So just kind of making it a little bit more real, we took some snapshots of our rough test harness that we have. So in a real production setting, we'd be integrated into your customer data platforms, but just to kind of show on the left there, these are some of the care about information that we'd pull in. So they're obviously the customer age, demographic, region, location, languages, even tying then into the more specific viewing habits. So what is their favorite genre? What are their favorite themes, favorite actors, directors, most recently watched, most watched overall, and then all that feeds into that Gen AI Nova Premier script generation piece to actually help create a compelling story that is targeted to them based on the titles that they care about, genres that they care about, and you can even add in things like upfront bumpers or end cards at the end if you'd like. Again, everything is very, very configurable. And then on the right-hand side, that's just a quick snapshot of the kind of output interface that you could potentially have of like the video and your different thumbs up, thumbs downs for that customer feedback loop. Again, a lot of that is meant to incorporate the user customization capabilities. So if they say, hey, we didn't like the audio on this particular time around, you will take that into account, and then the next time it generates it, you'll remove the audio and create something new there, right? Or if it said it didn't like the text overlays, same thing. So it's all very, very dynamic. And then the next,
you want to go to the architecture? Yeah, because it's great to see how this is powered as well.
So on the left-hand side there, you see the Hypermark architecture. The stuff on the left there is really the our existing client environments. They'll already have their MAM or DAM or CDPs, things like that. The middle area is what's Hypermark, essentially. So we have different components that are structured around the content tagging, content search, the actual GenAI script generation, all the stitching, assembly, and then even feedback. And you can see there that Nova is a common thread that we use throughout a lot of the generative AI components there, and then all the open search pieces and media services there. So I know it's kind of small. If people are interested, feel free to reach out to me. Happy to go in more depth behind all of that. And then just in terms of like the takeaway from all this, with the accelerator, our main ask is if you're interested in this, we would love to partner with you all and focus on the next step of how we actually make this real for your customer use cases. So the upfront discovery of actually understanding more of how many hours of content you have, what are the target cohorts and demographics that you want to go after, going in and building out that proof of value of scope, and actually even beyond that to building and deploying this in a production setting for like one target audience so that you can actually measure and showcase your return on investment from the initial release. So we're all about making sure that there's benefit, value, and ROI behind everything that we do.
Fabulous. It's great use of generative AI and listening to the customers and the production folks. Jason, do you want to bring us home?
Yeah, I think so. If we could show the slide for EPAM. So for anyone that wants to dive in deeper with Dave and team and learn more, make sure to use those QR codes. And then Dave, any last closing thoughts and before we wrap up?
First of all, thank you for including us. We always love AWS as one of our top partners here, and we're excited about this collaboration that we have around specifically Hypermark, but we even have many other AWS-related accelerators that we built out too. So outside of this content creation, hyper-personalized content creation side of it, we also have something called our AI Media Planner, which is more focused on marketing use cases and helping to create upfront media plans with AI, and then even optimizing those media plans once they're live with real-time inputs. And you can use that for kind of your traditional retail media use cases, but also even ad sales, which is kind of the flipped inverse of that, where you're trying to make the most money that you can from a specific ad spot. So just an example of one of the many other accelerators that we have behind the scenes here.
Dave, thank you so much. We are filled the hour as we always do. It's always such a great conversation. Thank you for coming on and diving deep, and it's great to see everything, all the great things you're doing with Hypermark and more. So thanks for sharing with us. And then with that, I'm going to wrap us out. So viewers, thanks for watching. Again, this is Industries Live, and we are live every other Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And if you are, click this QR code if you'd like to just be reminded when there's a new episode, and make sure to fill that out. But with that, Stuart, thank you for joining us. Dave, thank you for joining us. Ramki, thank you for joining us earlier. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.